If you're a guy, you're told to man up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but manning up doesn't mean you stay overwhelmed.
Hello. Welcome to the Global Wellness Dialogues, where me, Funke Michaels, and my sister from another mister
Aurelie Walker.
talk to our friends from around the world. We explore culture, governance, wellness, health, spirituality, gender, sexuality in a natural setting as friends having a chat. Come along with us and let's take this journey together as we talk to our friends from across cultures.
Hello and welcome to the Global Wellness Dialogues. Today we are thrilled to have Caleb Yupe with us from Mombasa, Kenya. We explore Caleb's journey from IT tech support to becoming a creative designer, his insights on the importance of community and mentorship, and how personal experiences have shaped his approach to life and work. We'll also delve into the cultural aspects of wellness for men in Kenya and beyond.
Hi everyone, my name is Caleb Yupe. I'm from Mombasa, Kenya. I'm a graphic designer, creative designer, a farmer, and a student of life as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Caleb.
So my first question is, Funke and Caleb, how did you meet?
Meeting Funke was so random because we met up on a project called ShareHub. So I was called in to do majorly the design work of the app itself and also the website. And so that's where we connected and formed a good working relationship. And also we became really good friends because she was my boss, but I never took her as my boss. We'd just exchange ideas randomly, have a sit down and just talk. I found it really good for my whole work experience because I've been working in environments that are so heavily toxic. Everyone is just demands, timelines. So for me, it was a big change in how I feel when I'm going to work.
Beautiful. Funke, how
Thank
does
you,
that
Caleb.
feel hearing that?
It's very warming. Honestly, I used to call Caleb the son of encouragement because he never says no to a project. He looks at something and he says, yes, we can make this work. We can do this. And for me,
Amazing.
that's what makes a good friend. That's what makes a good colleague.
And I love that you started off the podcast talking about work
Mm.
because you said you wanted to focus on this aspect, ability.
It took me a while to realize what I'm capable of and my talents, basically. Because to be honest, I never started out as a designer. I used to be an IT tech support guy. What actually got me to design was such one day at a cafe. I was having a beer, and right outside my window where I was seated, there was an ugly billboard right from the main. So I started debating in my head, like, oh, someone actually sat down and a whole team drafted this and actually approved it and had it pinned on the highway. As in, now uh, yeah, that's what got me into design, basically. Poor
So you thought
design.
you could do a better job.
I believed so. I was like, I can do a better job. Let me figure out the software aspect of it. And once
Okay.
I'm done with that, then I know I can do a better job than them. But design is what got me into design.
I understand you better, Caleb. Now that I have this story as a background, I can go back and look at some situations we've had at work and I understand.
Yeah. So
Caleb never could stand shoddy work.
I can't. I
No,
can't.
no.
It's
He's
not
not
in
polite
me.
about it either.
No. Because if it's essentially if someone is paying for a product or paying for something, they expect
Hmm.
the best out of it. So just do something that actually reflects what they want and what they're trying to achieve. Like it's not so difficult. It goes to any aspects of my life. Like do something, do it well. It doesn't have to be your line of work. Be a good friend, be a good wife, be a good husband, be a good communal person. Like it doesn't take much to be a better person and do the right things.
Thank you.
I love that, Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This goodness that is obviously clearly inside of you. What
Yeah.
inspires that? It's not easy to be good all the time. What keeps you, what drives you, and where does it come from?
It's not easy, by the way. It comes from a background where I didn't have much in life. And I came in a background where the most impactful meetings in my entire life from my childhood involved someone doing good for me, a friend, a stranger, a work colleague. So anyone who's done anything good for me always had an impact to my side, because I always thought, okay, I'm just some random guy and someone decided to show their kindness and care towards me. Probably they saw a bad side of me, but they never mentioned it. They didn't bother with it, but stuck to, let's show him love, let's show him care, let's show him kindness. It really got to me, and I just woke up one day and said, whoever I meet will get something from me. Well, whether it's my help, whether it's work related, whether it's just a helping hand, whether it's just a few words of encouragement, like let me have an impact, whether however small it is, down the road, that person is going to remember that instance and say, Caleb said this to me, or Caleb did this, or Caleb went out of his way to actually help me. So those are the interactions that fuel me to always strive to be a better person.
Beautiful.
Very, very. Caleb, do you think that if more and more people strived to do that, just do things well and be good to the next person, do you think it would make work easier to do, for example, when you come to the office?
The truth, we would not be struggling as a community. We wouldn't have to fight over things. You wouldn't have to like be envious about someone else or show some jealousy towards someone else. We would actually be a well driven, kind community. What's so hard about it? Having a community that looks out for each other. You don't have people who are fighting over things. Mm. And the aspect is like it's so hard to find humans helping each other. Mm.
This goodness and kindness is so important to you. How do you feel in a work environment when people don't respond to you in the same way? And how do you overcome that?
I find it's actually a sad reaction for me, because um I believe there is good in everyone. But now, you can't have expectations for people. I only have expectations for myself as an individual, because I know myself. I don't know what background they're coming from. I don't know what traumas they're carrying to work. I don't know what challenges they're facing at home. So I'll maintain my care and kindness. I will show respect as much as possible. There's no need to lash out at someone who's lashed out at you. Some conflicts can be resolved by just you keeping quiet. Just listen and understand, this person is going through something, and we're in the office. I can't solve it for him or her. I can't help them in any way. The best I can do is just listen, be silent, and move on with work. It's not easy, but it's great if you don't join into the conflict. Yeah.
You brought up a question in my mind, and I wanted to ask you. Work seems to be a very important part of who you are, and here um, you find it of high value in your life. Has there ever been a time when you couldn't do this work, when you couldn't perform, either for health reasons, for geographical reasons, for whatever reason? How did you cope? Would you share that with us?
Yeah, sure. That point of my life was the most difficult point in my life, the most challenging, I think, the most depressing. Because before I finished university, my dad passed on. So it
Sorry.
really derailed me as an individual from the school aspect. So I never got to actually do my final exams. So it threw me off completely. I was just depressed, because at that point of my life, I was trying to connect with my dad. We had formed a set of friendship with him, and we were getting to build a foundational relationship with him. But immediately I felt like things were going so well. That's when I lost it. So it really
Mm.
threw me off course from who I am. I spent my time depressed with a lot of thoughts in my head, thinking earlier in my life, should I have bonded with him? Should I have had more time with him? So when I actually got to do my final exams and graduate, years had gone by, almost 4 years. So we're
Mm.
talking about from 2014 to 2018. So that was my most difficult period of my life. It's the same point in time where I was working at the Ministry of Energy as an IT tech support. I'd always just revert to being quiet and just sitting at my desk. I wouldn't want to interact with anyone. And it was a difficult time for me mentally because I was just trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to be? Where do I want to be? How am I going to cope with losing a parent? Then, out of a stroke of luck, I met a friend randomly at a mall. Oh, I was watching soccer, the Premier League. So we shared a table. So we just talked randomly. He mentioned something to me. He looked at me and said, just seem like you're not here mentally. Yeah. And I told him, yeah, true. So we talked and he just told me, look, I know things might be hard for you at this point in time. Things might be out of place and things might seem difficult. But the one thing as a human being, if you lose it, is hope. If you lose hope, then you will not move forward. Just hope for the best and believe that things are going to fall in place at some point. And hearing that from a stranger who I've met randomly really got to me, and I actually sat down and thought about it, and I was like, yeah, he has a point. And from then on, he became a friend of mine. Some random old guy.
Do you know? Thank you so much for sharing that
Yeah,
really
Yeah.
thank you.
personal
Mm.
story. But in my head, I'm like, no, no, that's not random. That's your daddy say, kicking your ass. Come on.
Yeah, come on, it's time to get going. Get back up. Did anyone at work notice?
No,
Did you
you
get
couldn't
help from
notice.
anyone at work?
You couldn't notice because I was really good at hiding it. Like,
Mm,
no one would notice it. No one. So people
mm.
got used to it. So no one actually noticed. And the one thing I realized is, especially Africans in Kenya, we really don't like talking about our problems to anyone
Mm,
because
mm.
at the end of the day, they're going to use it against you, whether it's at the workplace, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family members. So you have to be mindful with whom you share your issues with. So as Kenyans, we've grown up with that mentality. Don't share your problems with anyone. Don't talk about it. You'd rather even find a stranger and yap it to him or
Mm.
her. So it's a problem. It's a very big problem. There isn't anyone who offers the support because people also don't know how to support the people who are having problems. Yeah.
Well, there's a
So
lot to unpack there.
There
That's
is. There
there is.
is.
it is, it
That's
is,
really interesting.
There is.
it is. So if you're a guy you're told to man up,
Yeah.
yeah, but manning up doesn't mean you stay overwhelmed. You're drowning and you know you can't talk to anyone. If you're a guy you're told to man up,
Yeah.
yeah, but manning up doesn't mean you stay overwhelmed. You're drowning and you know you can't talk to anyone.
This episode is supported by Highland Fairy, where I share breathwork, Kaivalya Kriya Yoga, tantric rituals and embodiment practices designed to deepen connection with yourself, others, and the world around you. If you'd like to continue the journey beyond the podcast, you can explore free guided practices at the Highland Fairy YouTube channel. We are also grateful for the support of the Admanis Group, connecting leaders across agriculture, technology, and the circular economy to create positive impact globally. Learn more at admanisgroup.com.
What does manning up mean in Kenya?
Manning up is there's no way you're going to cry in front of people. There's no way you're going to say talk to your wife or your girlfriend or a friend about your problems, because you are a man. You need to stand up and solve your problems. You need to always be 100% every single day. But that's impossible. We're humans. That's why Kenya is a drinking nation.
It's not just Kenya, really.
Yeah.
Different societies seem to find different ways to cope.
Yeah.
And we all find different places to hide when we're overwhelmed. I think manning up sort of translates for me in the corporate sense, in the sense that people will tell you to be professional. So don't bring your home issues to the office.
Exactly.
Don't wear your problems on your face. But even though you don't wear them, they actually show up in your work, whether you like it or not. And I would like to know what would make it better. Now, I'm asking this because, well, sitting where I am, west of where you are, it would be, say, a problem like we would say therapy could fix, would send you to a professional to speak to them. Now, does that qualify as stranger enough from your cultural
Basically, the
viewpoint?
main challenge is not even speaking to a therapist. I think the main challenge is, that's the normal way of solving that sort of a problem. Yeah, call a therapist, find a psychiatrist, talk to them. At the end of the day, it feels like you're going to a doctor. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna give you meds, if it's antidepressants or whatnot. I think the best solution is just finding an activity where people just can bond. Like people are now doing car group meetups, car park meetups.
Yeah.
If you have a certain type of a car, let's say a BMW, you can go to a BMW meetup. Just talk to random strangers. There is social club. It's a drinking intellectual club. Each day has its own topic. Like yes, this weekend we're talking about the stock exchange and how to invest in stock market. You can actually ask questions and actually understand things. Like basically, us men, we in Kenya we don't have an outlet for information, and the people who have information are gatekeepers. So such social events is where you can meet like-minded people and actually grow from who you are, whatever challenge you're having. They talk about everything, to politics, to healthcare, to how you should look after yourself, your fitness. So thus, I think the best way to solve them is through social clubs and social meetups. Oh,
That's so interesting that we're coming consistently bringing affinity
Affinity. Yeah.
yeah.
back together with
Yeah.
ability, and that
Yeah.
aspect of friendship, community,
Trust.
socializing, trust
Yeah.
is really permeates all aspects of wellness in a
Mm.
sense.
I think as men, we just lack the mentorship growing up, because once you leave school, what next?
Wow.
How do you grow wealth? How do you form connections? How do you make friends?
Funke, from your experience as well, you are from east and west of the beautiful continent, and together with Caleb, I don't know if you could talk us through a little bit about how wellness for men has evolved. Was it always like this? Were like men all were men always isolated, or were they in community before
Yeah.
and then became isolated and now coming back, or
Yeah,
what has
yeah.
changed? And is there a cultural aspect that's bringing you back together?
I can speak a little bit to the cultural aspect, cross-generationally. Now, in the olden days, and listen, when I say in the olden days, I mean actual olden days, because when my kids say olden days, they
I mean,
they
you.
mean a few years ago. I've been talking about me.
I know.
So in the olden days, my context, it used to be that the men had sitting groups. For my father's people, they had the umunna groups. Amongst the Igbos, the umunna literally translates to children of the father.
And for
So
our listeners, Funke, your father's ethnic origin is?
my father's Igbo, amongst other tribes. I am a conglomerate of many tribes together. My mother's a Yoruba woman, but my Igbo father has an Ave mother, and his grandmother on his father's side was from Bonny Island, Jenny Jumbo. So there's a lot of culture in here. But I'm speaking of
Thank
his
you.
father's culture now in Aruchuku. He is in that community. We're very democratic in the sense that the men have their own groups. You have groups with your kinsmen, the
Like,
sons of your grandfather, the sons of your father, your brothers, your uncles. They have sitting groups. Then you have the age grade. So the people who grew up around the same time as you, born around the same season, you had your own group. And that group was very democratic. You did things for the community as you grew. You did things for one another. And of course, they had the school groups because education became very important. So you had alum groups that kept them together. So they had such clubs, Caleb, as what you're talking about,
yeah.
and they internalized their learning because most of these men had known each other for years and built trust. So most of the people he would sit with were either his kin or his close friends. So he was not uneasy speaking with them. Now, let me drill down to the next generation of men, and I'll skip over to Kenya. Now, my husband is Kenyan American, and Michael is very much like my father in the sense that he doesn't want a doctor to look at him if he can help it. Unlike women, from a very early age, we learn to submit our bodies for examinations, for checks, especially for childbirth. You get looked at by so many people. For me, it's not an issue with me. But men have had to be alpha even with their health, not to show pain, not to show discomfort, not to seem to be weak. And I think that defines it from my view of the African male. It's that need to be strong, to stand up, to defend the household that keeps them from showing their vulnerability. I think I didn't see vulnerabilities in my dad until he was an old man. And at that point, I think he also saw me as an elder. And so he could afford to say some things in my presence now. And for me, the relationship has broadened and it's better with age. Now, with your generation, Caleb, I think something has happened in the sense that younger men in Africa, and I'm talking both East and West that I know of, have shifted from that communal, that village, that umuna, that age grade. Amongst Kikuyu men, I know that they have groups like that and where they sit and they meet, and the women also have their groups. But the younger people are more modern orally. And so we don't quite gather in that way. Secondly, many of us are in the diaspora, either abroad or in a different country from the one where you were born, or in a different culture within that country, a different tribe or clan where you work, and that's not your hometown. So you find yourself within a different base. And I guess perhaps it takes time to find trusted people in those bases for them to speak with. The whole healthcare scare for men is really a scary thing for women who have men in their lives within that community. Because usually when your man gets sick, it's at the point where it's already serious before you find out. So perhaps what we should start asking is, how can we get men to speak more freely about their challenges? Because if we don't know what the challenge is, either in your vitality or in your ability or in your sexuality, we can't begin to address those things that we don't know. So, well, Caleb.
That's a very, very difficult challenge you've put on my hands. But I think it should start from a young age because basically I've never had such a setup growing up as a kid. Till I turned 18 is where I got to join social clubs. I used to do sports, majorly used to play tennis, basketball, and I'd swim as well. They didn't shape who I became at the end of the day. Yeah. They were just an entertainment space for me, like just an activity to do so that I don't get bored, but I never really got any lessons from it. So starting from the age of 26 and onwards, I started to understand I could link up with people who are like-minded as I am. Because I'd try to associate with people who I felt were more intelligent than me, more stable from their family backgrounds, or they had a community-based structure in their life. So I'd link up with such people. But now as a 34-year-old, and I believe the social spaces are the things to go to. Yeah.
Would spirituality play a role in this? Looking at this sort of triangle between traditional knowledge, science, and perhaps more structured or organized religion, spirituality. Is there a path somewhere there for what we're talking about?
This foundation that you're eager, put down for the men. How do you see
Uh,
spirituality playing in it?
for spirituality now, the why I have never not bothered mentioning it is because there's a reason behind it. Is diversity so big? We have Indians, we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Masons, like such a big background of individuals from different spiritual backgrounds. So
We have the
and
Nyangas.
we have people who don't believe in spirituality at all. So
Hmm.
I've tried to incorporate it into the foundational basis, but it becomes really difficult. The foundational backgrounds of each religion is so different. That's where you're going to build country. But
I have a story. So
uh, mm,
recently, a cousin of mine, actually my mother's cousin, is in her age grade, sent me a book from the palace in Ondo, and
mm,
it was the history of my mother's people, that kingdom. And in
mm,
that book, it said that her grandfather, her great grandfather, Ayutthaya of Ondo, he invited the Muslims and invited the Christians to sit and discuss. And he gave parcels of land to each group, the Muslims to build a mosque and the Christians to build a church. And he would get them together to discuss aspects of faith
mm,
with the traditional, like the chiefs, the elders of the
yeah,
land.
yeah,
So that, and I know this for reality in Ondo, I partly grew up in that community. It didn't matter whether you were Muslim or Christian, you were family. And I'm from a family that has both. So when
Really?
it was Eid, we all dressed up and we went. And when it was Christmas, we all dressed up and we went. It was way to see your people as your people. It didn't matter what name they called their God by.
yeah.
What mattered was the love you received from them, that affinity that you had with the group. But I find that growing up, I have had to take my own curiosity and infect my friends with it. So I would say to you, can I come with you to the Hindu temple? So I get curious and I ask to be taken to places like that. And I find that I have grown in so doing. So, well, open invite. Teach me your faith. Share with me what you believe. So I think
Yeah.
that you have hit the nail on the head, Caleb. We just
Yeah.
need to find affinity, even with our spirituality.
Yes. Back. Full
Keep
circle.
going to affinity.
Cool.
Full circle. I love that. And that's, I think, a beautiful way to draw a discussion to a close.
Yes,
And
indeed.
that's really special. Caleb, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and sharing from your heart, especially. And Kate, thank you so much for joining us today.
So tell me, what jumped out at you, Aurelie?
Funke, I've traveled a lot to Kenya. I've spent a lot of time there. I was really touched that, Caleb was so open with us about the depths of connection that he's looking for and the depths of connections that he can forge as well. Obviously, the relationship that you have together, is a testament to that as well. And it's just, yeah, I feel really, really privileged that, as a Kenyan man, he was so open with us.
I believe that we have touched on a treasure trove here in the sense that most times men don't want to be vulnerable. And when we get to a point where a man can open up, I believe that we might be seeing a change, perhaps because of where we are in modernity, perhaps because more people are able to express themselves. You can be yourself and still maintain a certain level of anonymity with digital platforms, for example. So perhaps the work really is to build affinity early for men specifically. I'm glad we did this. It's teaching me as well to value my affinity groups, because that's where the superpowers come and we can lean on one another.
And also interesting is how important that affinity is in all areas of his life. So although we ask people what one area do you want to speak about, and we knew that others would come in, but it was really important how much affinity is central to wellness and well-being,
Right.
whether that is through his work or with his family, and excellence as well.
Yes,
Striving for excellence is really an important quality, and even that found through mentorship, through affinity.
exactly. And I've worked with him.
Yeah.
And so it helped me to understand him better. I also see that impatience with the hypocrisy of spirituality in modern terms. It seems that in Kenya, a lot of people are very Christian, very Muslim, and it comes through as one of the first things you identify in that person. For Caleb, I hear that what he wants is the person. So
The
through that
heart.
person,
Yeah.
exactly, through your heart, I can get to learn your faith. And I think that's an important thing for many of us to assimilate, to understand that when people look at us, they don't just see our religion, they want to see our hearts. They want to see the person.
Well, thank you so much for bringing your friends to our podcast, as always.
Thank you, Early, for having Caleb. It's been fun.
Yeah, great. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Global Wellness Dialogues. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to reflect on your own understanding of well-being and what it means to thrive. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it with someone who might find it meaningful. You can continue the conversation with us on Instagram at Global Wellness Dialogues, where we share insights, reflections, and updates on upcoming episodes. New episodes are released each week. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and remember, wellness isn't one size fits all.